rip, to tear, to slam, to blast, all words for very vocal criticism. Good morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins out there around the world, it's time to plug in and get this train chugging. And into the news we go! Black gold! That's right, we're talking about wigs. Good morning, Stenyak. Let's learn more in the caption. How America's growing demand for wigs and hair extensions is linked to forced labor or slave labor in Xinjiang. Pardon my pronunciation, I speak not a word of Chinese, and so I'm doing my best in guessing there. What we've got here is just a couple just a couple dependent prepositions. The demand for a product, right? For goods and or services. Ooh, look, there's some more goods. But yes, the demand for something means that people want it. Thinking about economics, we've got supply and demand. Demand is linked to forced labor or slave labor in that province, which is the northwestern area, predominantly Muslim Uyghur section of China, bordering along Kyrgyzstan and the Tibetan Plateau. Women in Xinjiang shine a light on a campaign of abuse and control by Beijing. And yes, as we know from the show and previous episodes, to shine a light on something means to make it known, to bring it into the public view, because previously it was in the darkness, and if it's in the dark, then people don't know about it. Let's move on. And still related to that, the Trump administration has blocked some goods from China which are suspected of, nice, ooh, we've got a reduced relative clause there, and you could say, is this a passive or is it just an adjective? I'd say it's a passive adjective. Are suspected of being made, nice present continuous, or gerundial passive here, being made with slave labor, and they are suspected of being made with slave labor by the U.S. administration and or international community, because these women have shone a light upon this abuse. All right, let's move on. Trump's first post-hospital interview. Now, remember, if something is post, that means after. Yes, pre, before, post, after. Ta-da! All right, the interview devolved into vicious and sexist attacks and dangerous boasts. Ooh, devolve we had last week, I believe, and that means to go into a lower form. We can also say, like, devolve meaning degenerate down to a lower life form, because life keeps evolving, making progress, moving forward and upward. But then if you devolve, you're going in the opposite direction. And so it was not going in a positive direction. It went downhill fast into vicious. Ooh, it's cruel and damaging, like a wild, wild dog that just gnashing its teeth, and it wants to bite you because it has rabies and it's going crazy. Vicious and sexist attacks and dangerous boasts. If you boast about something, synonym to brag, often go together for emphasis. To brag and boast about something. Yes, to boast about something is to toot your own horn, we could say, is to be a little bit too proud of yourself and your accomplishments, and then be quite vocal about it. Yeah, that's right, I'm the best, nobody's as good as me. Surprise! Moving on. 48 unhinged lines from Trump's Fox Business interview. If something is unhinged, that means it's off the rails, it's out of control, it's lost attachment and connection to reality. The hinges, what are hinges though? Hinges are the things that hold the door in place and allow the door to swing freely. And so if the door is off the hinges, it's not going to work very well, and it has lost its connection to the wall, aka reality. And they're just living in their own little constructed universe. Moving on. This is interesting. Whitmer, she is the governor of the state of Michigan. She rips the Trump campaign for attacking her. To rip, to tear, to slam, to blast, all words for very vocal criticism in a very loud and forceful fashion. Oh, and alleged, well, it hasn't been proven in court yet, and so in the U.S., innocent until proven guilty. And so therefore, up till now, it's just alleged. It's not certain. It hasn't been proven in a court of law yet. 13 charge in a plot, a plan, a scheme. Well, in this case though, a plot or to plot to do something means to create a plan, often elaborate, in order to achieve some end, often illegal. Here we can watch, I suggest you watch the video, she responds to criticism from the Trump campaign advisor. Just a little dependent preposition. She responds to someone, to something that was said or done. To kidnap somebody is to take them and take them away, usually hold them hostage. Moving on. A woman will oversee global trade for the first time. To oversee, now, often when we have the prefix, it means over, it means too much. However, in this case, it literally means over, and she's looking over and watching to make sure everything is going okay. Synonym for that would be to supervise. Now, again, prefix super meaning over, vise, related to vision, yeah, and so you're looking from over, just like a manager looking over his factory just to make sure everything is going on and according to plan. And so to oversee, to supervise, to manage, to make sure everything is going well in global trade. And rock and roll. October 10th was supposed to be a major celebration for Kim. Instead, he faces his most daunting challenges to date. Daunting means that it's intimidating and it makes a person nervous and worried, and they then might jeopardize their ability to move forward and do something. Just like if you have a big exam coming up, we have a daunting exam looming on the horizon next week, right? It's a daunting challenge, something that's going to be very difficult and makes you a little bit nervous or worried, etc. All right, let's see what else. What have we got here? The US goes rogue with unilateral Iran sanctions. We're putting economic sanctions against Iran, which means, we're penalizing them in terms of trade and finance, and we're going rogue. If somebody goes rogue, they're doing something by themselves, first of all, and they're operating outside of the normal conventions, laws, rules, or just kind of standards of society. You hear every once in a while about rogue elephants going crazy and attacking a village, or a rogue lion that's not part of a pride of lions, or the rogue assassin that's operating, he's out for justice. He's not listening to his boss anymore, and he's operating of his own will and volition, and he's vicious, and he's going to get violent and very... okay, I gotta stop there. Let's move on. All right. What Democrats must figure out to win the election. To figure something out. Very common phrasal verb, meaning to calculate, because numbers are figures, and if you're figuring it out, yes, you're putting the numbers together, you're calculating. Calculating totals, you could be calculating risk or probabilities, or it also just means to think about something and think about something until a course of action or a solution is found or chosen. And so Democrats must figure out that to win the election. What that is, I don't know. Don't see Indonesia in the news very often, but as every day and everywhere, we've got protests. Hundreds have been arrested at protests over some labor law in Jakarta. And yes, just a nice reduced present perfect passive have been arrested. And, I don't think Jakarta jails are very nice, so best of luck to all of them. I don't know anything about this story, so I don't know if they were on the good side or the bad side, but probably the good side. Let's move on. A star who invented a pioneering penalty kick is on life support because after contracting COVID. Sorry to hear. But a pioneer means somebody who's going where nobody has gone before. They're blazing the trail. They're setting the stage for others to come behind them. Or they just innovated and or invented something. Was this the guy that did like the stutter step and faked out the goalkeeper? I don't know. I don't know anything about this. However, he was a pioneer in some style of penalty kick, apparently. And now he has COVID. Best of luck to him. And here's a weird one, huh? Somebody hid, you can see them right here, razor blades inside a Trump and Pence sign, and that sign was too close to the road, so a county election worker was going to move the sign back away from the road and sliced nearly off 3 of their fingers and had to get a number of stitches to make sure their fingers didn't fall off. And so here we've got people hiding razor blades inside their political signs in case somebody tries to move or remove them. Oh boy, yes, we've reached a beautiful point in our society. Or sad, sad point. But, alright, there we go. Those were the headlines for today. For English, otherwise, that was breaking down the news. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Click the like, follow, subscribe, the little bell icon, and all of those things. Pass us along to a friend. Help the world improve its vocabulary. And also just stay informed and stay abreast of what's going on, because knowledge is power, right? Evening, I'll be doing a crossword and maybe a little bit more. Hope to see some of you there for the crossword this evening. Always a good time. I'll probably see you Monday morning. Bye-bye. Yes, stop the stream. Come on now.